You know, it never ceases to crack me up that there are a bunch of cards that are like clearly out of bounds in Legacy, but are just totally fine somehow in Modern. Like Psychic Frog ruined Legacy, Dreadhorde Arcanus and Ragavan ruined Legacy, and Modern's just like, ah, yeah, whatever is fine, just Fatal Push them. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Modern video, and today we are playing with Esper Ketramose. This list comes to us from Large John, and it's just a pile of good cards, honestly. In multiple formats, we have seen the synergy between Overlord of the Balemurk being able to dig for creatures and Solitude. The Solitude gets you out of the early game, and then eventually when you make it to the late game, Overlord of the Balemurk repeatedly rebuying Solitude from the graveyard, first when it enters and then later upon an attack, ends up being a really, really strong way to grind out games. And while Ketramose has ultimately ended up being a little bit underwhelming by Legacy standards, in Modern it is a pretty reasonable thing to be doing. And it's really common to see either just straight Orzhov or Esper builds that look something like this one. Relic of Progenitus plus Ketramose is just Chef's Kiss level of good. Tap a 1-mana artifact to draw a card each turn is sick, and this does enable you to just attack and block with your Ketramose. You need to get 7 cards into exile to turn it on, but we're pretty good at doing that between sending things there via our own removal and being able to nuke the graveyards. Large John's sideboard includes one real spicy meatball that I want to highlight, Blood Baron of Viscopa. Now this is 5 mana, so this is slow, but it is protection from white and black, meaning that it is going to be great in mirror and pseudo-mirror situations. And as long as you have 30 or more life, which is surprisingly reasonable for a deck that looks like this one, and an opponent has 10 or less life, this turns into a 10-10 flying lifelink protection from white and black creature, which is kind of wild. Should this be in the deck? I sure hope so, because this is sweet. And this was a card that I remember playing in, I think, both Standard and Modern, back in the day. Nobody tell me how long ago it was when this was first printed. I don't want to know. With that being said, since this is close enough to decks that I have played both in Modern and Legacy before, I think we'll just go ahead and jump directly into it. Folks, if you need any cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, toamagic.com, and using promo code ThrabenU to save yourself 5% on your order while also supporting me. You are going to MagicCon Vegas, you can place your order in advance and pick it up on site. And while you're there, feel free to ask for my tokens and stickers. I will be leaving some stuff at their booth in case you don't manage to catch me in the flesh. With that being said, let's battle. Okay, my hand seems to have reasonable Magic the Gathering cards in it. Oh, that is way too loud for me. We gotta turn that down. All right, what's going on with this hand? This is combo, this is combo. Your land or creature? No, if it's Delirium, yeah, land or creature. Okay. Let's assume that I just take that. I have not played against this much in Modern, if at all. I have seen it a fair amount in Pauper, so I'm expecting Blade of the Blood Chief and... Anyway, Blade of the Blood Chief, and there's a black enchantment that does the same sort of thing. Let's get a Psychic Frog going. And Crazy Pills? Is there no blue-black Shockland? Yeah. No blue-black Shockland. Rip Watery Grave. Okay. So now I don't have black-black if I need to double Fatal Push for some reason. Notably, just talking about an interaction here, Ancient Stirrings lets you look for a colorless card, and these Devoid Eldrazi do qualify for that. Malevolent Rumble. Alright, there's Blade of the Blood Chief, which is what my opponent is going to take. Sure. Alright. In the Rumble as well. So I will want to leave open a Fatal Push in all likelihood, I don't super think I need to exile this from the graveyard immediately, so I think I'm just going to go ahead and fly on in, draw a card. It matters on whether or not I draw a black land, since I couldn't get a blue-black duel here. So I'm going to go ahead and throw down a post-combat Emperor of Bones, and then maybe I can end up playing Ketramose and getting that synergy going in a minute. Eldrazi Temple. The cost here is 1. So my opponent can play the Brood Scale. They could adapt immediately using the floating mana from Eldrazi Temple. They really want to have this equipped first. Alright, they are going to adapt. I will respond. I think I'm going to save the life here. Get a regular black source. It'll push that before my opponent gets their Eldrazi. Blade of the Bloodchief triggers, but nobody's hanging out and having a good time. Boggart Trawler. My opponent has not attacked me yet, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there, just in case anyone is playing along at home. Let's Emperor a creature out. Do the Ketramose thing. Ooh. Don't mind that at all. So now do I just get rid of Blade of the Bloodchief? Sure. Yeah. Do the Ketramose thing again. Pass the turn. Next turn I'll play Boggart Trawler to be able to attack with Ketramose and start getting my life back. I also can exile a bunch of stuff with Psychic Frog and that will accomplish similar things. Glaring Fleshraker. I am at 7 life. Yep. 6 life. Traverse. There is Delirium there. Going for a Walking Ballista. So my opponent might be trying to just finish me off here. My opponent's going to tap the spawn 4 mana, play the spawn, cast a Walking Ballista with it, get another spawn. That's 5. That's 4. This is 3. Solitude is interesting. There's only one card in exile. Solitude makes it 2. Psychic Frog makes it 5. Emperor makes it 6. So, might end up being a little weird. I think I am going to Boggart Trawler, nuke my opponent's graveyard, Ketramose trigger. Thoughtseize is not what I'm looking for. This now has Menace and Lifelink. I was really trying to get something that would leave play here, or Revolt to kill this. That didn't happen. So to guarantee that I gain life, I think I am very awkwardly shooting a Walking Ballista. Yeah. Now I'm guaranteed life here. Going to make Psychic Frog fly, discarding a card there. I am at 6 life. It's kind of touch and go. I think I am not exiling a card here. Send it. I would like to draw a white card with Psychic Frog here. Nice. It's 5 life, fine. Versus a Walking Ballista for X equals 2 or 3. That should be fine. But Walking Ballista is the only card in my opponent's hand. I could just do this on their turn and not draw the card. Oh fuck, did I just have lethal by discarding to Psychic Frog? Might have just had lethal by discarding to Psychic Frog. Whoops. Did not consider that. Like if I have a line where I force my opponent to block. So let's just take out Glaring Fleshraker. And then I think if I have another turn worth of combat, my opponent just easily dies. I don't think I played that game the best. Wrath of the Skies presumably is going to just be batshit insane. Prismatic Ending feels good. Consigned to Memory counters so much of the stuff in their deck. I don't think I'm interested in Thoughtseize, despite the fact that they're a combo deck. It seems like I'm going to deal an exceptional amount of self-damage to myself. I don't know this format well enough to know how I should sideboard. I think I am going to end up trimming a lot of stuff. Rather than fully cutting things. I think I am just like going to be a control deck, trying to just draw a bunch of cards with a Psychic Frog and eventually end up at Ketramose. Maybe a Wisp can go. Keep the Solitude Overlord endgame. Ketramose Frog. I could keep the extra Phelia and go down an Emperor of Bones. Phelia is white for Solitude, and Phelia plus Overlord is a generically strong thing to do. But the more inexpensive things I play, the worse Wrath of the Skies becomes. I think I will believe that this is a reasonable hand. Vista from my opponent. And a Delighted Halfling, which is actually really annoying when this is my plan. Yeah, okay. I think I'm actually going to take 2 here. And then sometimes I can end up playing Shadowy Backstreet next turn to get my next color of mana. Ancient Stirrings. Cavernous Souls. Fuck! Not see this stuff in game 1. And Vexing Bauble. Alright. I'm going to hold up the consign mana. You can go to Graveyard because I might end up cracking a relic at some point. And getting to the magical 7 is a big deal. Alright. That is not colorless. Opponent can get Blade. No, they're going with the Urza's Saga. That can tap for mana. Dismiss all that. But I will probably turn off its ability to do cool things next turn. Okay, alright, we're starting to cook. I am going to Impending an Overlord. Psychic Frog or Phelia. Phelia is white for Solitude. I think that is my tiebreaker here. I think I'm going to pass the turn and consign Urza Saga and hope that I don't die. I have a Solitude, so I don't... Well, there's some problems there, I guess. Counter. Now I don't have to worry about the construct tokens beating me down. Halfling is happening. Cavern and the Delighted Halfling and Vexing Bauble are making these consigns way worse than I wanted them to be. Alright, that's a Fleshraker. And again, I can't just Solitude that away immediately. I can maybe get rid of it in a minute, though. I think I am consigning this trigger so my opponent doesn't get Blade of the Blood Chief. I think this means that I can just play out a relic with my remaining mana here. And I can consider just throwing Phelia at Glaring Fleshraker in combat. Oop. Alright. There's the Brood Scale, which is going to end up dealing me a decent amount of damage. Okay, I can kill this Glaring Fleshraker in combat if I would like. I think I would like. I have white, I don't need blue, so I guess this is black mana. Bam and bam. Dismember or something? Yes. Alright. I will take 2. And then hopefully just hardcast a Solitude. Another Halfling, sure. Yes, I can hardcast a Solitude. So now the question is, am I taking out the Glaring Fleshraker that threatens the most damage, or the Basking Brood Scale that potentially combo kills me? I think the answer is the Brood Scale. Maybe I end up getting both. Ugh. Alright. Pass turn. Land is great. Ooh, opponent's got something to do with it. Oh, it's big. That is a Walking Ballista. I am... I think going to use that opportunity to just take out Glaring Fleshraker before it deals any more damage to me. There's absolutely some degree of risk here, but my opponent will take a bunch of counters off Walking Ballista. I'll get hit for 2, and then hopefully I'll do some cool Ketramose things. Oh shit, that's great. I think that's next turn though. I think I just want to get this online and have the possibility of drawing a white card for Solitude. Cool. I did draw a white card for Solitude. Although that's the thing. So now the combat step is noticeably worse for my opponent. Opponent can put a counter on Walking Ballista for 4 mana. And I have an Overlord coming in a minute. Ooh, a Kozilek's Command. That's a real good top deck. I take 2, 3, 4 damage immediately, a 5th damage floating. Ooh, did I just die if my opponent made spawns? No. Wait, yes, right? This wouldn't be attacking, but my opponent would hit me for 4 and then deal 2. Yeah. Alright, I am at 2. I'm effectively at 1. Vexing Bobble, not letting me Solitude for free is really rough. So if my opponent untaps with Walking Ballista, I die. They just get to put a counter on it and shoot me for 2. Ugh! So attempt to remove Walking Ballista. I go to 1. My opponent currently doesn't deal combat damage to me. I have 2 very good blockers, but I'm dead to another Walking Ballista. That'll also do, because now I can't lifelink. Well, damn. Killing that out of spite. Yeah, sure. You can adapt. Rats. Real close there. Opponent's top decks were great. I, in theory, have things that will sweep Vexing Baubles off the table. I just deal so much damage to myself just trying to cast my spells. That is definitely an advantage for my opponent. Okay, I'm going to hold up Consign to Memory on turn 1 rather than play out Relic immediately. It may be relevant. You can Ancient Stirrings. I'll do a Surveil Land instead. Alright, opponent has a Brood Scale. So I don't have a blue Surveil Land, which is super relevant for this exact spot. Okay. Solitude, I'm going to say just goes to graveyard right now. I can potentially bring it back with Emperor of Bones. I found another one. I'm going to hold up Consign and play out the Relic. Sure. No, I'm not going to mess around with that. So this is blue mana. I will counter that. We have Basking Brood Scale plus Blade of the Blood Chief looming. Don't have a guaranteed 4th land for Emperor of Bones next turn. I also don't have black to Emperor and Fatal Push, which I guess means I'm Fatal Pushing and Phelia-ing. Okay. So now my opponent can make Urza Saga tokens. Grove of the Burn Willows. Okay, Malevolent Rumble is happening. Agatha's Soul Cauldron is really annoying. Oh, my opponent took a Boseiju instead. Sure. That is Traverse with Delirium. I guess I will pop this Relic here to take my opponent off of Delirium. Now I will have black moving forward, but I've also just like taken a card that I wanted out of my graveyard. So I'm not like the most thrilled about that. Getting dismembered immediately. Sure. A new Relic. Okay. I need to leave open Fatal Push. I guess I will eat cards from my opponent's graveyard. Yeah. And yeah. So Urza Saga is going to go find a friend. There's the Blade. There's the basic land that we know about. That's a Kozilek's command. What's the other mode? Bonds. You got it. So I might need to just cycle this. Yeah. Ah. Well, hopefully one Fatal Push is good enough. We'll do that tapped. Drop Ketramose. Pass. So there's the land drop that we know about. Yeah. Alright, there is a Brood Scale. There's going to be some Glaring Fleshraker damage here. Nothing equipped with this yet. So I can take a damage here. If I give my opponent priority, they sack this. And then equip, and then I use Fatal Push. That seems fine. Yeah, so this is my moment where I now go ahead and Fatal Push so that I don't die. And then I have Solitude for Glaring Fleshraker, and hopefully I'm just good from there. Prismatic Ending. I think I'm at a high enough life total where I can just remove the combo potential, draw a card. Yeah. This is a Destroy. Yes. Indestructible, notably. So I'll send in for 4. Opponent's at 11. Or I can't actually do this for X equals 3. Okay. I got too excited about that then. I counted 5 lands and got hyped. So I will take out Glaring Fleshraker, draw another card. I should have done this pre-combat because of bring back from the graveyard guy. Oh my gosh. Emperor of Bones. Halfling is fine. I'll do a Surveil land here for a shadowy backstreet. Yeah, Overlord is totally fine. So I can do that and get back a Solitude immediately. I think I'm just gonna full value cast this here. Pick up the Solitude. Send in for 4 more. Hopefully just not die to combo. And if I don't die to combo and untap with this Solitude, I think I win. Whatever it is, it's real big. All this dust. Okay. 3, 6. I lose the ability to Solitude if I cycle that immediately. All his dust is wild. This Solitude is still a 3-turn clock, though. That's perfectly reasonable. That's a Causal X command. I think 3-turn clock is fine, even if I'm not extracting maximum value here. Causal X command for some spawns. That seems fine. I guess I could cycle the Relic in response there to see if my next card right there is a counterspell. Opponent's at 6. I think I'm just tapping out for this. Ending up again in a spot where I could die to combo, but otherwise I am heavily favored to win. Eldrazi Temple? Malevolent Rumble? There's a Blade of the Blood Chief, is what my opponent is taking. I have that covered. A decent-sized Walking Ballista, Blade of the Blood Chief. So, my opponent can equip that to the Walking Ballista. They can sacrifice an Eldrazi spawn to get some +1/+1 counters there, and kill my Solitude, which will then give them another counter, which is perfectly fine and good. But this is the portion of the game where I will just absolutely fucking take over. So I get rid of the blade. I go to punchies. Yeah. Yes, I will use this ability. I'll pick up a Solitude. My opponent goes to 1 on 1 card. I don't think I have much to worry about here. I can just trade with this. Okay, so my opponent is going to kill the Solitude rather than gain some more life. That's fine. The Solitude's back in graveyard. I can get it again next turn. I've got a Psychic Frog for if my opponent draws something that answers my Overlord. Alright, we take that one down. I don't think I piloted that perfectly, but that was a good round. GG's. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. Okay, hand is keepable. Sure, this is something that bridges me to Ketramose. I think I am okay with this. So, this is probably just gonna get counterspelled by a Spell Pierce or something. Oh, okay. There's a Spell Snare, which doesn't do too much. I can play around that. Not putting the Grizzlebrand into the graveyard. Emperor of Bones is answerable by Solitude. My opponent can still cast a Tainted Indulgence. Put that Grizzlebrand into the graveyard. I might just be taking the Emperor of Bones. That's a way to get things out of graveyard. And I will just save some life here. Overgrown Tomb. This is an instant, so my opponent can just do that at their convenience. Am I fine just tapping out for Ketramose? Solitude available? I probably am. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Just passing the turn with Phelia available doesn't make the most sense into a known spell snare. So there's the Indulgence. Oh, it's worse. It's an Atraxa at a yard. A Surveil land. Quickly junking a Hollowed Fountain. And my opponent passes the turn. So I think we're getting a little weird here. I will Flicker Wisp, exile my Surveil land. I was just going to use that as an opportunity to do their thing. Chunking a Marsh Flats. So I draw my card. I get a new land. Now I'm going to have this land come back. I think I fetch in response. I have some very specific things that I'm looking for. Overlord is not it. Arid Mesa is also not it. Opponent has a Surveil land. I do need to get some damage going, or eventually my opponent can just start hardcasting creatures that look like that. Land is not what I want. My cards aren't really doing things and stuff here. I was trying to fish with double Surveil land or something that permanently sends cards to exile. I did not achieve that, however. So I guess I'm just passing the turn. All my cards are not currently good. It's very awkward to cast the Solitude as something that beats down as well. What the fuck is that? Oh, that's me. I think I have to keep this in hand. I think I'm just going to trade for Spell Snare. And then just fetch a land. Just avoid some potential damage. Thoughtseize is okay. I think that's all that it is. Okay, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That theoretically gets to everything. Blue, green, white, black, 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 black. Okay. I would prefer that my opponent cast a Grizzlebrand over an Atraxa if it has to happen. Opponent says, joke's on you. My hand sucks. Sure does. Sure does. Beats by Flicker Wisp might get the job done. And one Bojuka Bog style card away from greatness. Hey. We got rid of my opponent's Spell Snare earlier. So, you know, this is pretty decent. I get to take my opponent's large creatures. Love that for me. These exile large creatures that hit play. I am into that. My Prismatic Ending and Fatal Push type cards are probably quite bad. I'll play a Vindicate over a Fatal Push, maybe. I might leave a couple of Fatal Pushes in the deck. I imagine that there's something that looks like Psychic Frog in here somewhere. Solitude Ephemerate stuff is cool when we reach the end game. I wonder if I want something that looks like this. Just gets to attack through Grizzlebrand and Atraxa type cards. It just seems very slow. I don't know that I need it. I know that I would love a Relic in my opening hand, though. Negative, but I do have Emperor of Bones. I'll take it. Surveiling. There is a certain special feeling that happens when your opponent just cold surveils a giant creature into graveyard. Yeah, it's rough. They have to bring it back this turn, though, or I get to attempt Emperor of Bones. Spell Snare is a thing. Spell Snare is a thing. Thoughtseize instead. Force of Negation. Alrighty. I do not have the ability to play around Spell Snare anymore. 17? Yeah. That just would have happened in response to me doing Emperor of Bones nonsense. So that's real good. Alright, so they get a new Goryo's, a Prismatic Ending, a Polluted Delta, and an Atraxa. Okay. So I'm gonna get smacked for 7. Is this an exile? Yeah. That's rough. There's the Delta. Goryo's happens. Fetch. Surveil again. I don't need Ephemerate. Am I going to Emperor here, or do I want to play Overlord looking for Solitude? Overlord looking for Solitude sounds kind of nice. I'm going to... What if I Phelia first? And what if I Phelia on my opponent's turn first? Tainted Indulgence. Binning the Atraxa. That means that Goryo's can just happen again, unfortunately. That Surveil land on turn 1 spiking the first fatty was very bad for me. Yeah. Oh, that's a lot of stuff. So my opponent can consign to memory the trigger that sacrifices the Atraxa. That's rough. Not a fan. My opponent's also just at 30 fucking life. Oh, it's Ephemerate instead. Cool. Yikes. Celestial Purge? I guess I'm thinking of my white cards being particularly good in the matchup, but like there's still stuff like this. Okay, I get it. I think I'm gonna tap out here though. I think my opponent's clearly got this one with 13 cards in hand. I could try to consign Atraxa triggers. I don't know if that's a winning prospect. Let's just try to be on the play and have my opponent not randomly spike a large creature on turn 1. This has a Solitude for the first large creature. That's roughly how I feel about it. Okay. That's not how I was expecting this to play out, but hopefully that's fine. Tapped land there. Need deal 3 damage to myself here. There's not even an island in this deck to attempt to get the blue mana without dealing damage to myself. Don't know how I feel about that. More generally, I'm not sure how good the splash for the Psychic Frog is. I don't play enough Modern to just have a gut feeling for that. I think this is just going to eat a Prismatic Ending here, yeah, and just not be impressive overall. And now I think I'm going to do a cheeky play and just vindicate my opponent's land. My Ketramose isn't really online yet. Thoughtseize versus white removal. I think I care about Thoughtseize more immediately. I think I'm just going to give myself another draw step towards doing something cool. No, I eat Force of Negation. Fuck. I mean, that's a 2-for-1, and that's like all fine and good, but yeah. I can Solitude that. Yeah. Solitude. I think pitching my second Ketramose. So take you out. I'll do the thing. Emperor of Bones is a great pickup. No. Pass turn. And then hopefully I just get Emperor of Bones going and, well, shit. And do cool things. I don't mind Ephemerate. I think I'm just playing Phelia at my opponent's end step and holding up Ephemerate rather than trying to do both of my 2-drops in one turn cycle. Surveilling. Atraxa random lead a bin. There is something very special about losing 2 games in a row to randomly surveilled giant creatures. Before my opponent can put a counterspell in hand, I think I'm going to cast this, even though that could help inform their decisions about what to take with the Atraxa. And my opponent did that at a speed at which the Emperor of Bones is not relevant. Or Psychic Frogs in there. Ephemerate, Solitude, Polluted Delta. Sure. Take 7. Planes. Oh yeah, sure. Now my opponent can Prismatic Ending my Phelia. Have Spell Snare available for Emperor of Bones. Sucks. Oh, they got Force of Negation. That's also just a disaster. Yep. So, attempt. Combat. Target Solitude. This is the point. Well, I guess I can wait just a touch further. Clicked through a step that I wanted there. So I'm just going to live with that mistake. I'm going to just eat Solitude here. Oh, it's another Celestial Purge. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to concede. I'm not beating the Resolved Atraxa from 9 life here. GG's. Okay. I'll keep this hand. My basic planes is real awkward and trying to make Psychic Frog work. Amulet of Vigor. Well, I got a Prismatic Ending for that. I'm going to assume that Thoughtseize can wait. I'm going to get a blue-white land here. I can still potentially Psychic Frog in the not-too-distant future. Yeah. Goodbye, Amulet. I'm going to deal so much damage to myself this game, though. So if there was no Amulet this turn, I think I can continue to wait another turn on this. 14 on turn 2. I'll be at 12 on turn 3. Explore. Land. And a Lotus Field. Sure. I'm going to Thoughtseize here and make a plan. So my opponent has 4 mana, no ability to jump up to 6 or 7. I think I'm just going to take the castable Scape Shift. And honestly, got a plan. All right, hear me out. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll keep that one. We're just gonna clock. I'll play this one as a Surveil land and intend on discarding that one next turn. I want to kill my opponent in 2 attack steps. You don't do anything right now. Fetch, Surveil, Solitude. So my opponent could draw and produce a Primeval Titan, which would not be great. This is a way to answer that, but I can just fly over it. So I think I don't. A new Psychic Frog. Nope. Send it. Discard a card. Discard a card. 7 damage. Overlord. We will impending that. Yes, I'll pick up a Solitude. Pass turn. And then I just use whatever I get from my draw step as the last discard to get over the line with Psychic Frog. Man, I do not miss playing against Psychic Frog. It's just kind of fucked up that like you can just see the coast is clear and just kill your opponent in 3 combats with it. Okay. Thing that answers Amulet. I suppose things that answer Amulet. How deep do we go there? This can just blow up lands. Alright, so the Fatal Push type stuff is not important. The Ephemerates are probably not important. And probably trim a Flicker Wisp. Maybe both Flicker Wisps. This is where I just don't know like what ratio of cards is appropriate. I'm not cutting any Psychic Frogs. I don't think I cut Emperor of Bones because randomly like snagging a Primeval Titan for a turn and getting a couple of bonus lands elevates me to my end game just so smoothly. Maybe I don't Wrath of the Skies. Maybe there's too much incidental damage here. Yeah. This is, I guess, fine. It is again going to deal a lot of damage to me pretty quickly. I wonder if we beat like aggressive red decks. We have like cool lifelinking nonsense later on in the game, but I'm going to deal 8 damage to myself by turn 2. Alright, that's an Amulet. So I could answer that immediately if I wanted. I think I am just Thought Seizing though. Yeah. Thought Seize, target you. There's a second Amulet. I think I'll take it over the Explore. So my opponent can untap this. They can just use that to make Urza Saga tokens, or they could use that to explore or whatever. Oh, they're just going to bounce the Urza Saga and take their value like that. Reasonable. Just march it. I think I just march it. This needs to be a blue-white land. Take out the Amulet, which shrinks the construct token. I can use Consign to Memory to answer either the Urza Saga ability to produce construct tokens or its ability to search up an Amulet. I don't know which one yet, but I do know that I would love a land. Hey, it's a land. I think I need to play Emperor of Bones while holding up Consign. And this lets me set up Ketramose card draw. I'm going to let that go. There's a good chance that I end up... yes. Anyway, that I end up using Solitude on one of these. And then just bringing it back with Emperor of Bones to take out the other one. I think I'm willing to take 2 and defer that decision for 1 turn. Simic Growth Chamber. This is really fucking annoying. I am like trying to play this Ketramose game. It's not going well. Without the 4th land, I can't adapt this and do something else. And I don't have a white card to play Ketramose and then pitch something immediately. I think I'm going to awkwardly pass the turn here. This is just 6 mana, by the way. So Primeval Titan happens. I will cast that. Stop that trigger. Doesn't really make sense for the constructs to attack in. When does this go away? Beginning of the next end step. I think because I'm pinched on mana, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Primeval Titan and adapt this immediately to turn it into a 4/4, and then I can play a new one to be threatening a Solitude. So yeah, and yeah. This Emperor of Bones will eat... No, I'll keep eating things. This Emperor of Bones eats Solitude. I don't want to be forced to use my mana, so I'm not going to attack here. I don't think I can counter this trigger because I have to respect my opponent just having another fucking Primeval Titan that I need to counter the trigger for. Ugh, I hate this play pattern so much. Yes. Opponent could, in theory, give that haste. Oh. Yeah? It's just more Urza Saga. Uh-huh. Yeah. I'm gonna fetch. I think I need to start working through these tokens. 6. Adapt. Take the counters. Junk one of these. Get a Solitude temporarily. That's not what I am looking for. Eat things from my opponent's graveyard. I send in with that. I don't think I send in with these. Like, I can pressure my opponent's life total, but they can have hasty damage out of nowhere. With no source of card advantage, I'm just being eaten alive by Urza Saga, bounce Urza Saga lines. Alright. Thoughtseize is not what I want here. This is not very enjoyable. I honestly should just concede. Like, I can see the writing on the wall of just dying to bear Urza Saga construct tokens. So you get that. Then these are 2 different triggers. So I'll target the bottom one. I will replicate once the blue and 1. Replicate. We'll counter the top one. So I stop this Urza Saga token from gaining the ability to make friends. I stop them finding an amulet. However, there are 4 4/4s in play, and I am at 9. My opponent can also just give that haste and hit me for 8 while making it so that I have to block with both. Then it's very hard for me to stay alive. So yeah, and yeah, take 8. I am at 1. I need something like a Solitude. Thoughtseize, target you. Oh god, there was just that there as well. Fantastic. I'm dead. Alright, so we will just absolutely fucking lose to Urza Saga. Do I need to play Wrath of the Skies to clear out those tokens and all the Urza Sagas at the same time? Seems likely. Maybe I do that over Thoughtseize. I just run out of fucking life. I also just think I need this. I need that source of card advantage as the game goes on. Maybe go down one of those, question mark. I worry that this is not interactive enough. I'm gonna try keeping it. I Surveil on 1, Phelia on 2, Overlord Phelia on 3, probably. Got a Solitude in there to help, but I'm not necessarily interacting with an early amulet. Sure. Shadowy Backstreet Wrath of the Skies? Based on how that previous game went, I'm going to keep that. This is blue-white. I'll pass the turn. Urza's Saga. That'll eat it to a Wrath of the Skies. Spelunking. Alright. Seems good. Mirror pool. Okay. So I'll go to 16. Yes, I will play my Phelia. Now, am I fine with a 2 to 3 mana land destruction spell? I hope so. I'm gonna bank the bonus energy here. Save the life. Wrath of the Skies, X equals 1. Sorry, so I said bank the bonus energy, but I meant I'm going to use that energy to kill the Grazer so that Phelia actually gets in for damage. But this is potentially a problem. I think I get a turn before things get scary. Aftermath Analyst. Hopefully my opponent doesn't get a jump to 4 mana immediately. A jump to 3 mana seems reasonable. Fuck. So now my opponent just does mirror pool shenanigans. Guess I needed to remove this with the trigger on the stack so this exact thing didn't happen. Yeah. Now all this stuff enters untapped. So this is where we're at when the stack finally clears. There's a Primeval Titan, which my opponent will be able to give haste, but I'll Solitude it. Alright, Vesuva copying Mirror Pool, and Teleria West. So then my opponent going to create a copy of Primeval Titan. Okay, it's a copy of a creature in play, not from graveyard. Got that mixed up there. Alright. So let's say no to that. Yeah. Alright, I'm somehow still alive. Overlord is cool. So let's do that. Say yes. Return Solitude. Go to Punchies. Attack with Phelia. Blink Overlord. 2 damage. Return Overlord. Trigger. Yes. We're straight up just going to pick a white card here. Or pitching to Solitude. Where's the Saga ticks up? So I've been told that this can go infinite with Mirror Pool in this deck pretty easily. I haven't seen it executed. Alright, sure. Load your mana. Transmuting. Or a Summoner's Pact. And just passing the turn. Cool. A Godless Shrine. I would like to draw some cards. Some real cards. I give up 5 damage if I want to draw a card to try to spike a Thoughtseize or a Consign. Maybe I don't do that. Maybe I just Impending. Yes, Witch Enchanter. I don't have the mana for that, but that's not a bad card in theory. I think I just pick up another Solitude. So send them. Phelia trigger, blink the other Overlord. Say yes to this. This time I'll pick up a Witch Enchanter. Ooh, something's happening. A Construct token, you got it. I was just going to gain some life there, that's reasonable. In case this matters, I'm going to do this. And then Overlord happens, yes. Return a Psychic Frog for something different. So I've got creatures covered in theory. This is just a replacement effect, so this amulet doesn't really do anything right now, I don't think. There's the Summoner's Pact. Cultivator Colossus. Can I interrupt that trigger with the Solitude? I don't know the exact wording of that card. When this creature enters, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, draw a card and repeat this process. So yes, I can interrupt that. Alright, so there that is. Let's Solitude. With both of these there, I probably just pitch Witch Enchanter now. I don't know, the Phelia doesn't do anything. Yeah? Or wait, do I repeat this process if the creature that is triggering it isn't in play? Probably. But I can still get rid of this while it's smaller. So this is still going to happen. I give my opponent less life if I do it at the beginning. Lotus Field. Sure. Alright. So we'll go down the stack a little bit. My opponent will bounce an Otawara. And then sack a couple of lands. There's a Primeval Titan. I can also answer that. Shifting Woodlands. That seems bad. My opponent can turn that into Aftermath Analyst. And then sacrifice that. Yeah. And sacrifice that to return all of the lands. Well, I thought I was dead once before and I didn't actually die. Sure feels like this should kill me somehow. But now my opponent can use the Lotus Field to just keep repeating this process. They can get a bunch of mana. I'm just going to ask them if this actually kills me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and concede here. So I think what's going to happen is that my opponent makes effectively infinite mana and then just creates a whole bunch of copies of Primeval Titan or whatever. I'm not going to sit here and click through it, but it seems like that beats me. GG's. Okay. Opening hand seems reasonable. I'm going to deal so much damage to myself, though. Okay, we're going to play against a red deck and see if we die. Ori Steelcutters are probably going to eat me alive. Esper Sentinel's obviously very good as well. I'm going to take a Corey Steelcutter. I expect to handily lose this matchup. I will be very happy if I am wrong. But I am on 14, and my opponent has dealt me no damage yet, and they are an aggro deck. I just don't think this bodes well. 18. There's the Corey Steelcutter. Yeah. All right. So there's a second Esper Sentinel on top of that. Cool. My opponent can't attack yet. That's the good news. The bad news is that my next land enters tapped. That the plan? That might be the plan. My mana's really tight to make that work. There's only 2 cards in graveyards that I can send to exile. I don't think I'm ready for this yet. I'm just going to go blue and black. And I think past the turn here, so I can't get doinked by the Esper Sentinels. There's the land drop. I'm just going to always yield to those and dismiss this. So my opponent's just going to go immediately for a Mox Opal. That will be their second card for turn if they cast it, meaning they get a new monk for sure. What's the timing restrictions on this? Do you just exile it? Play it until you exile another card with this. Oh, Ajani. Marvelous. It is turn 3. My opponent has 6 creatures. Thanks, I hate it. I also can't really cast non-creature spells. What's the loyalty on this bad boy on the back? 3? Okay. Yeah. Blink, kill cat. Do I need to fly? Like, do I need to discard a Thoughtseize, get in, draw a card? I think I do. So yeah, fly, send it, draw, Overlord, okay. So I have stopped the short-term problem of this potentially transforming. Don't really have long-term problems answered. Yeah. Opponent only has to use 1 energy on that. So then they can bank that energy towards the amulet. There's Corey Steelcutter doing Corey Steelcutter things. I take 1 from the amulet. Amulet activates, doing Arid Mesa. Only when you cast spells that it does damage. Cool. My opponent could probably just attack me twice and I'll die. So there's no tricks here. I'm willing to junk that. This is a 2/3. I think my relic is slow enough that I'm willing to junk that as well. That's a 3/4. So I'm going to block that monk. I'm still taking 5. I'm glad I'm not taking 8. But this is still very bad. Very, very, very bad. Redrew an Ephemerate. That's not really what I want. I would like to hit a Solitude, please. Did not hit a Solitude. Emperor of Bones or Flicker Wisp. I will take Flicker Wisp. Flicker Wisp does stuff with Overlord. I block, I take 3 next turn. I don't think I get to attack. Overlord can slowly tick down. Elegant Parlor. Saying no to a Guide of Souls. Alright, that is a Corey Steelcutter on a different creature. This just makes Esper Sentinel's trigger more appealing. My opponent is just passing the turn. Sure. Prismatic Ending is a card that I am legally allowed to cast. I think I just ignore it and just continue to play creatures. Flicker Wisp, target there. I think I make 1 flyer this turn to draw a card and do a little bit of damage while holding most of my bodies back. Hopefully I don't die for that decision. 12. Pick up a land. I don't think it is worth it to cast Prismatic Ending and have my opponent draw a bunch of cards. Yes. Solitude. Very nice. Solitude makes me feel a whole lot safer here. A new Corey Steelcutter. Hate that. Ooh. So I let that resolve. I let my opponent sacrifice 1. I Solitude pitching Prismatic Ending. Then I might need to let my opponent draw some cards. Yeah. I could Solitude junking an Esper Sentinel. I think I will do that. So Solitude, Junk and Esper Sentinel. Go down to 7. Get a basic. Ephemerate a Solitude. Let my opponent draw 1 card. Solitude, the potential Planeswalker. And my opponent concedes. These seem great. These seem great. These answer Corey Steelcutter as well. I have some other things that I could think about. Thoughtseize hurts my life total. I am not in on that. I'm just not going to think about that. It seems like this is really the thing that I'm working towards. Overlord plus Solitude. I'm unsure if my Psychic Frogs are actually good. I know they stalled out the board this game, but if I'm going to bring in like Wraths and more Prismatic Endings and Celestial Purges, are Psychic Frogs actually still good? I don't know, I don't have matchup reps here. Psychic Frog is something big that sometimes lives through, not Galvanic Blast, Galvanic Discharges, Wisps, Blink tokens. Alright, let's do this way. What am I never touching? I'm never touching this Solitude stuff. You're part of the mana base. I'm never touching you. Emperor of Bones is potentially too slow here. Has extremely high upside. What is a high variance card? Maybe I go like Bam and Bam. Psychic Frog drawing me into more copies of this stuff is cool though. I don't know. Yeah? Or do I just like not try to get cute with assembling Solitude Ephemerate? And just keep cards look like this? Unsure. This does not have any removal, but it has a way to maybe find removal? Hopefully, this is fine. I'm so very afraid, though. Yes. Oh, God. So much shit. Ugh. Oh, it's going to cycle the bobble. Shadowy Backstreet. I mean, that's what I'm doing this turn. I'm not playing Relic into Esper Sentinel and giving my opponent that value. I am going to say no to that. I have more important things that I can draw. Solitude, Wrath of the Skies, that sort of stuff. Surveil land from my opponent. Mox Opal currently not live. Said no to a Corey Steelcutter. Ocelot Pride Guide of Souls is online. Ate that for me. So my opponent's going to start getting energy. I can play Overlord to dig for a Solitude. I think I just play Psychic Frog, though. It does, however, cost me 3 life. I have no ability to play Psychic Frog without paying the life tax there. Opponent is currently at 1 energy. Things can get a little weird. I don't want to see exile-based removal. Oh, Psychic Frog. What a fucking champ. Prismatic Ending. Yeah, okay. Is it Esper Sentinel? Or do I want to disrupt this so things can't go wrong? I think I want to disrupt this so things can't go wrong. I want to stop Guide of Souls. So, bam. Pay the tax. Take that out. I just don't want my opponent accumulating energy for other purposes. Then I will fetch. I think I play a Relic with the intention of cycling it in the not-too-distant future. Do I need black? Probably not, but it is theoretically possible. I guess I have it already. Plains. Relic. And start doing some chip work there. And we just try to keep the Psychic Frog in play to wall the small creatures. My opponent has a white exile-based removal spell. Things fall apart. Oh, my opponent just conceded. Psychic Frog did some work. It doesn't feel like that should be that easy, though. GG's. All right. Opening hand is fine. I will deal an exceptional amount of self-damage, though. Okay, so we're going to do this again. This is round 5. This is round 5. Are you ready for the pain? Ow. 17. Thoughtseize down to 15. Oh my god, it's triple Ocelot Pride? Fuck, okay. There's an exceptional amount of math to be done here that I am not going to do. I'm going to take Static Prison and assume that Psychic Frog and this can do something against triple Ocelot Pride. Oh god, though. Unhappy. Unhappy, basically. So there's a cat. There's a cat. I get attacked for 1. My opponent makes 3 cats. We're not to the city's blessing immediately, but it's really fucking bad. So, just going to die. Yeah. So I do Phelia because Phelia can be played out in combat, and Flage can't answer it before combat. So, yeah. Oh no, there's an instant speed removal spell. Fuck. Alright, so at the second one of those, the city's blessing happens. Fuck me. Yeah. Okay. So what did I just do? This, out with Thought Seizes. I think I went out with Emperor of Bones for being slow. I think I trimmed an Ephemerate or 2. Something approximating that seems reasonable. I could play Emperor of Bones over Relic of Progenitus. Emperor of Bones just has power and toughness and gets in the way. I could see that. I could, I guess, also March. It's just not very mana efficient, but it is removal. You can get rid of Corey Steelcutters. I don't know. Flage is also a thing. Relic is better versus Flage than Emperor is, because Relic just sits there and keeps the graveyard in check, whereas Emperor sometimes will get checked by Flage itself on the way down. Yes. Yeah. I will get a Surveil land here and hopefully do some cool things with Wrath of the Skies, where I take out multiple permanents at the same time. Yeah. Shadowy Backstreet. I'm going to say no to that. That's not great as a land, and it's slow as a spell. I'm going to play Phelia this turn. Phelia gets played as a surprise during combat. I mean, it's a heli. It's a highly telegraphed surprise, though. Land drop 2. Opponent will make me do the thing, which I am fine with doing. And then I imagine they have some removal spell here. Galvanic Discharge is fine. Opponent saves 1 energy for later. And then I would love them to play out another card that I can just get, so I can get a 2-for-1 with Wrath of the Skies. Doesn't look like it's happening. That's what I wanted to happen. Psychic Frog. I think I play this to force interaction from my opponent and just do a tapped land. And then hopefully my Psychic Frog does some good. Or alternatively, hopefully my opponent plays out a bunch of stuff and then I Wrath of the Skies. Preferably while keeping Psychic Frog alive. But if Psychic Frog gains me a bunch of life or otherwise replaces itself, I don't think that's the worst. Okay. Those sure are cats. So now my opponent can attack with this stuff, because I don't want to transform this into a Planeswalker. This does not eat Planeswalkers. So I will just take the 1. So Psychic Frog will fly. Bam, bam, bam. I'm just going to replace this card here. 17. Fatal Push. Is that enough for me to not Wrath of the Skies yet? And just, I try to keep Psychic Frog? I don't think so. I think I just clear everything. I have a second Wrath of the Skies, too. Just going to get a basic Swamp here. And pay out both energy, clearing both boards. And hopefully that's fine. Arena of Glory for haste. Sure. Okay. I have another Wrath of the Skies. I'll do it. Or do I just want a Phelia? Is Phelia fine? I want to save Wrath of the Skies. So nothing weird happens. I'm just going to kill this now. And then pass the turn. Alright, both are coming in. So I will attempt a Phelia block on this Ocelot Pride. Okay, it seems like it's actually happening. That's great. I'm going to just take this damage. Go to 12. That is a Flage. My opponent's going to attempt to kill this. I'll Ephemerate my creature. Then I can attack and blink out their token. This is fine. And I will probably be able to use Fatal Push to get rid of Flage. Maybe can use Wrath of the Skies. Things are starting to turn in my favor. I think I need a little more, though. Not casting this. Shadowy Backstreet. Yeah, I'll take that next turn. That's fine. Send it. Junk you. And pass There's a good chance that Phelia just comes back and kills my Phelia, but then when Phelia dies, I can Fatal Push the Phelia and then tap out for Overlord on my turn. Yes. Whether my opponent points to set Phelia immediately, they do. The Revolt has been triggered. Go to combat, and then I'll Fatal Push. Goodbye. And hopefully that's all they have. Nice. I'm just going to hard cast this. I just want to be able to attack with this next turn. And with this in play, I can Wrath of the Skies for a decently large number if my opponent starts playing out things like Corey Steelcutter that are going to be problematic. Solitude. Love it. So Arena of Glory is not going to untap since it was exerted. An opponent likes their card. They might have found something that answers my Overlord. That's fine. And we're chilling. Oh boy, do I have options. I think I am into this. So Ketramose, Solitude, pitch Wrath of the Skies, nuke Ajani, lose a life, draw a card. Fatal Push is an okay pickup. Send in with Overlord, trigger, yes. Phelia is cool. I think I'll just pick up a Solitude that I can hardcast though. And before blocks, I think I just don't let my opponent soak up 5 here. We have plenty of cards in exile for the purposes of this thing, so I'm swinging in for 9 on my turn. That a Voice of Victory. Oh, that's a sick addition to this deck. Seasoned Pyromancer, sure. Or an Elemental token. Graveyard's chugging along. So I will Impending this Overlord. Yes, I'm just going to pick up some white card. Pick up a Phelia. Solitude. Pitch a Phelia. Let's take out Voice of Victory. Ketramose trigger. Get a land there. Go to combat. I'm going to gain 4 life with this. Yes. Pick up a Flicker Wisp. I'm just going to just take a chump there. So now let's Flicker Wisp. Blink this Overlord. Draw a card for Ketramose. Prismatic Ending. I don't think I need to use that on a simple elemental token. This is just a white card that is in my hand. Yes, I'll pick up a Solitude. So now I'm at 13 life. I am certainly attacking for lethal next turn, but like a Phelia can get in there and do some cute things. My opponent could end up gaining a bunch of life. Tear to destroy an enchantment. You got it. Alright, so there is a Phelia with haste. I'll be taking that out. My opponent will probably kill this Flicker Wisp. Oh, you're swinging for the fences. You're trying to get me to mess up, so you have a high upside play. I get it. Solitude. Yep. So, we go to the next game. The Wrath of the Skies were pretty good. What about like Blood Baron? Do I want something like Blood Baron? It's just an endgame blocker versus Phelia and friends. It's a little hard to set up my Ephemerates on the draw. I will just play something that lifelinks to help stabilize the board if things go badly. Ooh, single land is not great. This has a castable card, 1 more castable card if I hit another land drop. I think I just say no to this. I'll risk it. I don't think I want to go down to 5 versus my opponent on 7. There's that Blood Baron. Ready to help. I almost certainly need to Surveil land and not Fatal Push in this turn cycle, even if my opponent plays a creature that's scary. I just have to be willing to take some beats in the early game to make sure that I get to cast this stuff, which objectively is quite powerful. No to a Guide of Souls. Okay. I mean, that's very good. So, fetch and Surveil. That is not a land. This is a really big draw step. Fuck. This is the only way that I can use my mana. I expect that this game will slip away very quickly. Goblin Bombardment. Yikes. Okay. Sometimes you're going to have some non-games. The upside of this hand was absurd. If I hit a single land, I almost certainly play a strong game of Magic the Gathering. I think I get one more draw step before I'm just dead was going to be the remainder of that sentence, but fuck. Okay. Relic you. I'll get a redraw towards another land. It honestly could be much worse. I am not taking any active damage right now. I mean, this means that my opponent has reactive stuff in hand, but there's not immediate threats. Land drop 5. Pass turn, pass turn. Eh? Where? So that I can't get a redraw off the relic. I respect it. Sure. Okay. Lage is a thing. Now, do I remove this so I don't take 3 more damage from its trigger on the way back down? No, because Goblin Bombardment. Answered my own question. Yeah. I'm upset. That's 5 draws and a Surveil for no lands. Okay. I'm going to discard the Blood Baron. I can get it back with Overlord later if I start playing Magic the Gathering. Yeah, my opponent has flooded out. But I have nothing going on. So there's Flage. I'm going to take 4 from this. 3 from this initial trigger, and then 1 from Goblin Bombardment once I Solitude it. Do I have Ephemerates that I'm drawing towards? I don't think I do. I don't. So that probably means that I just pressed. Well, there's no difference, right? Yeah, there's no difference in waiting. I'm... Alright. Take out Flage in air quotes. Opponent throws it with Bombardment. I don't have the land drop to answer the Bombardment. Generic Phil screaming noises. .mp3. Maybe old school and it's a wave file instead. There's an Ocelot Pride. I can answer that with Prismatic Ending. There's a Seasoned Pyromancer. I can... Oh, City's Blessing is a thing. Man, like... This Wrath of the Skies, though. This Wrath of the Skies, though, would be so good if I was playing Magic. But unfortunately, I am not. Hate that for me. So that's 4 direct damage. I am effectively at 2 life. Yeah, so I can answer the Planeswalker, then get attacked for lethal. Or I can answer 1 creature and then get Planeswalker abilitied for lethal. If I cast Wrath of the Skies for X equals 0 and kill some tokens, I take 2 immediately and then die to the Planeswalker. Yeah, I need like 1 land at any turn before turn 7 there. And I think I win that one. Regardless, GG. All right. Overall thoughts on the deck list here. Not bad. I don't play enough Modern to know whether or not the blue for specifically Psychic Frog is worth it. It felt very weird to me to not have a fetchable blue-black dual land of any nature in the deck. I think if you are going to play Psychic Frog, you probably want one. But I haven't been through the ringer with this deck. I haven't done any math, but that's just my guess, is that 1 blue-black dual land in here somewhere is worth it. I don't know how I feel about Basic Island. It kind of feels like having the ability to fetch or Psychic Frog and not take damage can matter. But maybe your fetch lands aren't going to work out in a way where it makes sense to run the Basic Island. This deck has an absurdly strong endgame. It can sometimes clunk a little bit in the early game, but once you reach the mid to end game and your like mid-range control stuff takes over, like you do really, really strong stuff. If I knew this format better, I would have played this deck better. Obvious statement is obvious. But I think this deck is pretty good. I don't know that I have played enough games here that I can accurately critique individual flex slots or anything, but overall I'm going to give this a thumbs up, and this was fun to play. This was a good way to spend a couple of hours. I would do it again. With that, I think I'm going to call it a night here, folks. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and if you need some cards, use promo code ThrabenU. Save yourself a little bit on that order. I am slightly sad that we did not, at any point in the league, make a 10-10 Blood Baron of Vizkopa, but otherwise, sick league. Anyway, have a great rest of the day. See ya!